welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, hope rises for residents of Niger Delta as acting president proposes legalizing local refineries in the region. A federal high court in Kano orders forfeiture of $9.8 million allegedly stolen by former managing director of the NNPC, Andrew Yakubu. Frontline professor of international law, Aki Oyebode, challenges President Muhammadu Buhari to also consider speaking to Nigerians as a way of dousing tension over his health condition. And scores of people killed in the Democratic Republic of Congo as soldiers clash with militiamen.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's Debt Management Office plans to launch the country's first savings bond for securities market expansion. On sports news tonight, former Super Eagles coach Samson Siasia shortlisted for Rwanda Football Federation coaching job.
And from Abuja, the House of Representatives takes steps to reverse the nation's economic recession, inaugurates an economic team to take up the challenge.
The huge sums of money amounting to about $9.8 million and £74,000 may be hitting the federal treasury soon, going by the judgment of a federal high court in Kano. The court today ordered the forfeiture of the money recovered from a former group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Mr. Andrew Yakubu, to the federal government. Justice Zainab Abubakar gave the order following an ex parte application moved by the EFCC lawyer Salihu Husani seeking an interim forfeiture of the recovered money to the federal government. In her ruling, Justice Abubakar held that the sums which are now in the custody of the EFCC are in the interim forfeited to the federal government of Nigeria. EFCC operatives stormed a building belonging to the former NNPC boss on February the 3rd and recovered the staggering sums of money stashed in a fireproof safe. Mr. Yakubu, who reported to the Commission's Kano Zonal Office on February the 8th, remains in its custody, assisting the investigation. While Shell Nigeria Limited and Nigerian Ajip Exploration Limited have both approached a federal high court in Abuja, asking it to set aside its order of January the 26th, forfeiting oil prospecting license 245, otherwise known as Malabu Oil, to the federal government. In two separate motions, the two oil companies are asking the court to also suspend the effect of the interim order and argued that the process of procuring the grant of the ex parte order by the EFCC is unconstitutional. However, when the case came up for hearing, the EFCC asked the court to adjourn the case to enable it respond to the allegations in the motion. The trial judge, Justice John Soho, had adjourned the case to February the 27th to enable the anti-graft agency respond. Staying in the courts, the Federal High Court sitting here in Lagos has fixed March the 1st for the commencement of trial of a former governor of Oyo State, Chief Rashidi Ladoja, alongside one of his aides, Wahid Akombi, over an alleged 4.7 billion naira fraud charge. The court fixed the date after counsel to the EFCC, Oluwafemi Olabisi, asked the court for an interim order.
The arraignment of the former governor of Oyo State comes 9 years after he was first arraigned before Justice Ramat Mohammed, who was then serving in the Lagos Division of the Federal High Court. The EFCC had in November 2008 arraigned the former governor and his aide, one Wahid Akombi, on a 10-count charge of allegedly laundering about 4.7 billion naira belonging to the Oyo State government. The offences were allegedly committed when Mr. Ladoja served as governor. After pleading not guilty to the offences, the two defendants had argued that the proof of evidence placed before the trial courts by the EFCC did not establish any prima facie case against them. They also argued that the Federal High Court lacked the powers to try them. The trial court disagreed, and the case went all the way to the Supreme Court, where it is still awaiting determination. But armed with the Court of Appeal judgment of 2015, which asked the defendants to go and face their case at the trial court, the EFCC brought an amended 8-count charge against them. In the charges, the EFCC specifically alleged, among other things, that former Governor Ladoja used 42 million naira to purchase an armored Land Cruiser Jeep and remitted about 600,000 euros to one Bimpe Ladoja in London. Mr. Ladoja and his aide have, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges. Attempts by the prosecution counsel, Mr. Oluwafemi Olabisi, to examine the first witness in the case was rebutted by the lawyers of the defendants, Mr. Bolaji Onilenla and Mr. Olumide Fushika. They argued that the witness could not testify because his name was not on the list of witnesses earlier supplied to them by the anti-graft agency back in 2008, and this, they claim, would amount to an ambush on the defense team. The prosecution counsel admitted the error and urged the court to adjourn proceedings to enable him file additional proof of evidence. Justice Mohammed Idris then adjourned to the 1st of March for commencement of trial. Shola Shoyeli, Channels Television News.
Now, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned the Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University of Technology, Akure, in Ondo State, Professor Adebiyi Daramola, and the institution's bursar, Mr. Emmanuel Oreshegun, before the Ondo State High Court over alleged fraudulent practices. Professor Daramola was arraigned on a 9-count charge, while Mr. Oreshegun was arraigned on a 2-count charge. The charges against the VC include fraud, obtaining money under false pretenses, abuse of office, and felony. Both men pleaded not guilty to all the charges brought against them.
The other charge is that he invested university fund in an interest-yielding account. I wonder how that could constitute offense. Endowment fund is expected to be invested, and he did the right thing by investing it. He has not been accused that he invested it in his own name. He has not been accused that he took benefit from it, because both the principal and the interest he rolled over and also in the university name. So we just wait and find out what the EFCC is coming to say here. But for now, he has been granted bail.
The court has ruled, the court has admitted them to bail. We have no problem with that. We have dates for trial now. The law is that the proper place of custody is the prisons. But you and I know that the judge is not a robot. He has exercised his discretion, to my mind, both judicially and judiciously, by reminding them in the SIB cells, pending when they perfect their bail. But how long they will be there is what no one knows.
The Edo State 2016 Governorship Elections Petitions Tribunal, sitting in Benin City, the state capital, has adjourned to Friday, February the 17th, for the Independent National Electoral Commission to open its case in the petition filed by the candidates of the People's Democratic Party in that election. Pastor Osage Ize-Yamu and his party, the PDP, are challenging the declaration of Mr. Godwin Obaseki as governor in the election. Counsel to INEC prayed the tribunal to adjourn to Friday to enable his client prepare the witnesses.
Today's session is for the first respondent, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to open her case. Whereas the proceedings were about to commence, counsel to INEC, Onyinye and Monye, told the tribunal that there are some challenges that will make it impossible for the court to commence proceedings with their case for today. Among other reasons, he stated that the commission was having difficulties in providing key witnesses who are mostly youth corps members who took active part in conducting the election, as many have become hard to reach since they passed out of the scheme. After hearing the complaints of INEC's counsel, the chairman of the 3-man tribunal, Justice Ahmed Badamasi, then adjourned till Friday, 17th of February, for the commission to start her case. Counsel reacts to the day's proceedings.
It's the turn of INEC to open its defense today. And we came here prepared to continue to demonstrate our dissatisfaction with the result of the election. But INEC is not ready. They said they have logistic problem. And there's nothing the tribunal could do, especially given the fact that they have number of days allotted to them by law. They are 10 days, so the adjournment is part of their days, and we are forced to retreat, to come back another day.
INEC had 10 days to present its case. They said for reasons indicated in the tribunal, they are unable to start today. They want to make adequate arrangements and preparations. So if they feel they can present their case within 7 days, so be it. It's their option. And they have exercised it, and the tribunal could not but grant the application. So on Friday, we hope they'll be able to kickstart their presentation.
Another issue raised by counsel is that of harassment of lawyers by political thugs who besieged the tribunal premises during sittings. On that note, the chairman of the tribunal called on the Edo State Commissioner of Police to arrest the situation and also cautioned politicians who sponsor them to desist from the act. As the tribunal resumes on Friday, it is hoped that politicians would have cautioned their supporters against violent conduct, and also the police is expected to fine-tune security arrangements to effectively curtail the excesses of political thugs in order to prevent them from derailing the course of justice.
Away from legal matters, the acting president, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, has appealed to residents of the Niger Delta, especially the youths, to take advantage of the prevailing peace in the region to give room for sustainable development. The acting president, who was speaking in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, told the gathering that the current administration is really committed to addressing the people's concerns. Our correspondent, Emmanuel Ire, reports.
The arrival of the acting president signals the beginning of this meeting in Port Harcourt, the River State capital.
APC! APC!
It's a session on Niger Delta matters between the acting president and some stakeholders from the region.
We know how it is when you are in opposition.
Majorly in attendance are leaders and members of the All Progressives Congress in the state, led by the former governor and Minister of Transportation, Chibuike Amechi. Then one after the other, some leaders of the party in the state took turns to make their cases for a united Niger Delta.
We respectfully request that as part of the efforts to achieve peace in Niger Delta, the federal government should do all that it can to complete the East-West Road.
One of the challenges we have in our region today is politicization of the Niger Delta struggle. Those today who are talking about the Niger Delta struggle went to bed. They were feeding fat from state resources. The moment that lifeline was cut off, they immediately went back and started agitating again.
For the senator representing River Southeast Senatorial District, the Niger Delta story should not be politicized.
We want to use this opportunity to call on the federal government to take a very clear and decisive step to try to bring peace to River State.
The acting president gives an assurance of the commitment of the federal government to the development of the Niger Delta and to the fortunes of its party.
Those young men and women who are involved in illegal refining, our approach to that is that we must engage them by establishing modular refineries so that they can participate in legal refining, not illegal refining. And we are committed to making sure that the young men and women of the Niger Delta are properly engaged. We'll look at the amnesty issues. We'll make sure that amnesty continues. Some people have been trying to suggest that we close down amnesty. That's not true. We have made more provision for amnesty than has ever been made, and we have made more provision for social intervention. This state, River State, has the second largest number of young graduates who have been employed by the federal government under our Empower scheme. This is not the time to make war. No, this is the time to make peace so that we can ensure that we derive all all of the benefits that are derivable from the center.
The meeting ends with a promise by the federal government to continue to engage all relevant stakeholders to bring lasting peace to the Niger Delta. Emmanuel Irei, Channels Television News.
In part 2, after the break, soldier killed in clash in Benue State. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.